In this video, we're going to start looking at some of SQL's aggregate functions. And we're going to do count and group by here, and then throw in some old things like, order by. All right, so I'm on the W3 School SQL site. I'm going to be playing with their sort of implementation of the NorthWind database that I can access online. And we're going to start with the account, an example of the count. So you want to count occurrences of some field, and let me find the try it yourself. There we go. All right, so here they are counting products as from the products table, where the price, which is one of the properties of the table, of the products table, is greater than 20. So the overall, the products will be, there are 77 products, but not all of them are. Try to hit count again. Try it yourself. Okay. So this is just counting the products, and that should come up with a simple 77. And we can add in things as they have shown, like where the price is greater than 20. So how many products have a price greater than 20? That was another one of their examples. Only 37 of them. And another thing I like to do here is it makes up some name and makes me cringe. So we can add the SQL keyword as, and say, give some description, count over 20 or something. And then it sort of renames that field for us. So that's sort of a basic count. And they were counting the products. Let's just count the customers. So let's go to customers. And then instead of just listing them all, we're deciding to count them. So count the customers. And we can see over here that it's telling us 91, but you don't always have that information sitting there for you. And then again, I don't like that expression 1000 thing, so I'm going to call it customer count. And maybe I'll put from on another line. That doesn't matter. Just makes it, organizes it a bit. So there were 91 customers, as we know. Okay, so it's a simple count. We're counting all of the records in a field. Okay, now we are going to bring in the concept of group by. So we're going to group things and then work with counting within the group. So let's come back here and find their version of group by and go down to try it for yourself. And here's their example. Let's run it. It is, they are counting the customers. They're listing the customers and the country, but then they are counting the customers, but grouping by country. So we're finding the number of customers from each country by doing this. And so Argentina had 3 customers, Austria had 2, Belgium had 2, Brazil had 9. So there is that idea. And so let's make our own, and let's find the number of products supplied by the supplier. But we're just going to work, we're not going to bother to do the join to get the supplier name. We'll just work with the supplier ID to keep it simple and to focus on the aggregate function, the group by, the count and the group by. So so we're working with the suppliers table. What do we want? We're counting the number of products. So no, we're not working with the suppliers table. That was wrong. We're working with the products table. We're counting products. So we're working with the products table, but we're counting a product ID, but we're adding in specifically the supplier ID. I think I want the supplier ID first. I think I like the group by. So I'm going to give the supplier ID, then the count of the product. From products, I'm going to group by the supplier ID, and I'm going to name the count as product count. I could say product count per supplier, but I hope it'll be, when we see different suppliers, I hope it'll be clear that it's per supplier. Let's see what we have here. So we're looking at the supplier ID, we're counting up the products, we're grouping by the supplier ID. So this is the number of products supplied by that supplier. We renamed the count as product count, which we can see down here. We're working with the products table, and we grouped our function, our counting function on the supplier ID. So we're doing all these like sort of subtotals, if you will, or we're not really adding, we're counting, so I don't know, sub-counting. All right, so there is that idea of having two fields. The first one, we just counted a single field, so we're just sort of seeing how many records there were in the table for the most part, or maybe we added a condition, a where clause, and how many records were in the table that satisfied that condition. But now we are bringing in, with group by, we're bringing in at least two fields, and we're doing an aggregate function counting on one field and grouping by the other. So we're sort of breaking it down into sections, sort of counting by supplier in this case. And then let's try one more. And here we're going to write out this example with counting employees taking orders, and then we'll do one more. So we're counting, let's see if I can, in this case, they've sort of given you the, so let's just, we're counting the employee ID, and we're counting the order ID. So how many orders has each employee taken? So I'm going to name it employee order count. So how we want to look at the productivity of our employees. How many orders have they taken? So that information is in the orders table. The orders table has an employee ID. So I spelled employee wrong. We're counting the order ID, which is just something to count. But employee ID is how we're going to group. So we want to know the count for each employee. We gave the count a name. We're going from the orders, we're grouping by the employee ID. And then we're going to add a group by, sorry, an order. We have already had a group by. We're adding an order by, and we're going to order by the count. So we want to know which employee had the biggest count. And so we'll put it in descending order so that our employee who's taken the most orders will be on top. And so there is employee with an ID of 4, took 40 orders, 3 took 31 orders, and so on down the line. If I wanted the employee names, then I'd have to turn this into a join. My focus here is on the counting. So I'm just leaving it as a single table sort of aggregate function sort of thing. So I'm like just going to live with the ID for now. One thing I did want to show is that we said call count order ID, employee order ID. And can we put that down here in the order? I'm pretty sure the answer is no. It doesn't know that name just yet. So let's try that. And we get an error. So it does not know this name. It will put that name on the column sort of at the end, but it does not know it in terms of, say, I can use it in an order by. So I've got to work with the count. Okay. And then we just wanted to do one more of this type. And so this one was sort of in this exercise was given, and then the next one is a variation on it left. So now we want to do something similar. We want to know the orders. Again, we're still in the orders table, but now we're going to jump over to shippers. And what's the sort of shipper breakdown? What shippers have handled the most orders? So that's just a little variation here. So we're going to be interested in not employees, but shipper ID count. We'll still count the orders, the order ID. Turn it to shipper order count. We're going from orders. We're grouping by shipper ID. And I'm just, in some sense, showing you, like, if you have a similar query, how you can sort of modify it to the sort of next one. So it's nice to have a set of example queries, like of a bunch of different varieties, and then you can sort of edit them to get things that are rather like them. So this query was really rather like the last one. Select shipper ID, count order ID. I'm calling it the shipper order count. I'm going working with the orders table. I'm grouping it by the shipper ID, and then I am ordering by the count of the order ID descending. And there are 3 records. There were only 3 shippers. Shipper number 1 or shipper number 2 shipped 74 of our orders. Shipper ID 3 did 68, shipper 1, 54. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you here. There are other aggregate functions to come, but not in this video. We just did count, order by, group by, using as to rename the field, and that's enough for this one. Thanks for your attention.